Is it just me, or you be talking to somebody or even dating somebody, right? And be so in love, like just love this motherfucker. See absolutely no wrong in them, just love them. Then one day you're just like, I don't like you no more. We could be having a good day. And I just be like, I don't like you no more. I don't like the person you are. I don't like the way you move. I don't like the way you think. I just don't like you. So I want to leave. Just like that. Like, I want to go. I don't want to talk anymore. Is that just me?
See, look, this is what a lot of women got to realize, right? Every time one of these videos go viral, y'all are making it harder and harder for the next generation after y'all and for the women coming after y'all, because this dude is going to remember this negative experience and he's going to act accordingly. It is what it is. See, men, here's the thing. A lot of us are logical thinkers and we learn from our past mistakes. Men, that is. I'm not talking about little boys. And he said to himself, damn, I did everything right with this girl. And I spent all of this money. I took on all of these dates. These trips, I bought her clothes. She asked for nail money. She asked for hair money, whatever. I invested all of this. And then she turns around and drops me like a bad habit when she gets bored. Because that's all it was. She got bored. Or maybe he got out the car and his ass crack was showing, bro. Listen, y'all don't know, bro. I saw so many TikToks of women saying, yeah, man, I was with a good dude. And then one day he was getting out of the car at the gas station and I saw his ass crack, and from there I just never saw him the same no more. I said, wow, that's kind of crazy, especially if he was a good dude. But guys, they don't realize that they're just making it harder and harder on themselves, because dudes is not going to want to invest knowing that this can happen.
Hey man, say man, I don't know who need to hear this. I lied. I do know who need to hear this. For all the niggas that's out there taking niggas bitches, bro, cool, do your thing. I do my thing too. But hear me out though. If you ever hear a nigga say that's my old lady, not old lady, O-L-E, lady, that's my old lady, you better leave that bitch alone. You're gonna end up in a box, son. That's all I'm saying. I can't speak for everybody else, but I know about me and the Louisiana niggas. If we introduce our bitches my old lady, I promise you for a fact 310% that nigga ready to crash out immediately with no remorse. Leave that bitch alone, fam. I understand you a real nigga. Leave that bitch alone, fam.
Hey man, look, Shorty ain't telling y'all no lies, bro. If a man really consider himself like his woman, his old lady, he cut from a different cloth. He one of them dudes that don't play about her. He dead serious, man. See, a dude that call a woman his old lady, he definitely most likely from Louisiana, probably somewhere outside New Orleans or in New Orleans. That's the term we say out here. But like, dude will be like, that's my girl. But when I hear a dude say, man, oh yeah, that's my old lady right there. Tread lightly after that, bro. Watch how you talk about her. Don't raise your voice around her, bro, because he is going to go 0 to 100 behind her, dog. I'm trying to put y'all on game. You get what I'm saying? These dudes, every dude ain't like us. Every dude ain't level-headed, bro. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. You can't even look at some dudes who refer to their woman as their old lady. You can't look at their old lady too long without them. Hey, partner, what's your problem? What's to you? You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, be careful.
Where would you take me on our first date?
You. If you dress like that, we going to the crib first. And then we can do whatever after that. If it, depending on how that goes.
My nigga. Yeah, boy.
I know you ain't want me to get up here and lie to you.
No, of course not. I don't like liars.
No.
But, question. Why would you be taking me to your house?
Shit, what you want to hotel or something?
No.
B&B?
No.
Shit, car sex like that too.
I don't like people. Whore.
Wait, oh my God, am I like selling sex to you?
Don't get mad at me, nigga. I'm here telling the truth. If somebody else should have told you this.
I mean, I just feel like, you know, I look good, body look good, but it shouldn't. You make money? It shouldn't. Yeah, I make money.
You look real good.
Right.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
Yeah, you know, he probably want to go to the crib first because you dress like them women that be on goddamn Chef Mentor Highway in New Orleans East. Google that shit. Just Google what I'm talking about. You're going to see immediately what I'm talking about, man. Like, you dress like a streetwalker. You dress like a woman who does sell sex. You dress like a woman who doesn't have a lot of respect for herself. You dress like a woman that got daddy issues. You dress like a woman that is an attention seeker. You dress like a woman who's a clout chaser. You dress like a woman that works at a strip club. You could be a bottle girl, which is basically a junior stripper. You kind of carry yourself like you easy. And in past experiences, I'm telling you, this man has basically probably had a 100% success rate at dealing with women like you, bringing them to the crib before the date. It is what it is. You know, past behavior is indicative of future behavior. He just using logic and common sense. And another thing is this, man, when you dress like this, you open up the door to be disrespectful. Because if this is disrespectful, I don't care what nobody say, he's disrespecting you for the simple fact he knows you don't respect yourself. It is what it is. Because I bet you he ain't come at them other girls who would dress differently like that. Dudes gonna put you in a category when they see you dress like that. It's really that simple, bro. You dress like a 304. Yeah.
If you're a minority and you want to date white women, you just kind of have to accept that you can't have certain types of them. There's only a couple types of white that will date a minority. I think that some are off the table, like Taylor Swift white, off the table. It's hard to get a Starbucks white as a minority, but ironically enough, it's very easy to get like a Starbucks barista white. you can't go peak white, you can go off white. You know what I'm saying? You can get like one that has a tattoo of a deer, you know, has a tattoo of her spirit animal somewhere. But you can't get yoga class white. That's off of the table. Anything that could be a Fox News anchor, off the table. You won't get none of that. Anything like if her dad owns a pontoon boat, you can't have that one. But you can get the one that likes to smoke cigarettes at dive bars. Maybe you can get that one. That's cool. You can get you can get thrift shop white, and that's fine. Honestly, that's where you'd rather be at.
Yeah, bro, the only way you gonna get that type of white girl is if you rich, like extremely well off, an entertainer or an athlete. It is what it is, man. In my personal life, I've never seen a nigga, I've never seen none of y'all that didn't fit the description that I just laid out with a cold-blooded, regular white girl next door. Top tier white men actually want them. They are not ran through dust bunnies. I'm telling you, I don't see y'all with them all the time. I'm keeping it real, bro. I see y'all with the ghetto white girls with the tattoos, the butterfly tramp stamps, the long. I see y'all with the white girls that adopt the worst aspects of black culture. That's what I see a lot of minority men with. I'm gonna keep it real. And that ain't just black dudes. Mexican dudes be with the big, heavy set, wide back white girls, and so do a lot of black dudes, bro. It is what it is, man. Homie on to something.
Fully aware that I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I am so effing tired of the amount of emotional labor that comes with dating black men.
See, one thing about the truth is that you know exactly how it sounds when you hear it, right? If you're one of those ladies that is in fact black, but you've deconstructed from the black love rhetoric, and now you're in that free place of go where you're appreciated, go where the princess treatment lasts longer than the courting stage, go where you're celebrated and not tolerated, go where you're uplifted and not manipulated, then you're not offended by what this young lady just said. Because let's just be very honest, right? As much of a generalization it is to say that dating black men comes with a lot of emotional labor, there's also a lot of fact that's involved in that statement, right? And the only person that disagrees is someone that's a black male with an ego, or two, someone who's never dated a black male. Now, am I making this video to tell you to divest? Absolutely not. Do what your heart desires. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing all over again and expecting different results. We cannot continue to ignore the fact that it's a very unique experience, right? It's kind of like I've talked about on YouTube and I think on TikTok here, that there's something about dating a rapper, an athlete, right? We're not talking about Russell Wilson and Ciara. Those are the outliers, right? But how many times are we going to see these same men, typically black, screw women over time and time again before you say, nah, I'm good. I'm not dating a rapper, right? Yes, it's a generalization, but it's also factual based on data. Does that make sense? And so if you know that a vehicle is likely to break down on you, and you know that the safety rating has not been great, and you go to purchase one anyway for the aesthetics, i.e. the Range Rover, then be prepared to have your car in and out of the shop, right? Be prepared to be in a loaner every couple of months. Be prepared to have your time interrupted every time you have to take it in for servicing. Does that make sense? It's the same logic, right? As a woman, only you are responsible for your emotional health, right? And if you want to maintain a softness, you want to live well, but you do not want to be hardened, you got to be very, very specific about your type. I'm sorry. And I know I've gotten this kickback a lot from my clients. Like, well, what happens if I'm only attracted to black men? Then I guess you'll never try nothing new. And I guess you'll continue to get the same results. And I guess you'll continue to look for a diamond in the rough, right? I feel this way about anything in your life that you notice is disrupting you. So kudos again to that beautiful woman for speaking up, because not a lot of us are saying this out loud. We are thinking it, but we're not saying it enough. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mary, and I'm borderline obsessed with seeing women loved right the very first time. If that sounds like a cup of tea, definitely like and follow for more.
Man, look, go ahead and divest all you want. It don't matter to me, but what I will say is this. Like, every black man that I know gonna agree with this for the most part, right? When these women get with, like, let's say a guy of another race, they will date a version that if he had black skin would never get a chance to ever get with her at all, bro. Like, she will date the guy who doesn't have a fashion sense. She will date the guy who doesn't have swag. He isn't that tall. He has a dad bod. He doesn't have many other options, especially when it comes, let's say he's a white guy. The white guys that a lot of black women end up dating and treating like a goddamn king are white guys that white women wouldn't even give a chance to. Now, why does that even come up in this equation? Because what I see in my personal life, this is going to be anecdotal, but a lot of times the black women, when they date the dudes, it's the opposite of the white guy I just described. He has to have a certain build, right? And when you get that certain build, that oftentimes comes with a certain behavior from the man. And if that's your type, you're going to keep repeating that cycle over and over again. If you like that guy that was looking good in the club, he was standing on a goddamn table with his shirt off, fucking champagne spilling all over his body and shit like that, he turned. You finna be between a rock and a hard place. It is what it is. But then it's like you grab some common sense when a white guy approaches you. He looks stable. Okay, I can date him. And you wonder why it's so easy, because you go for a good white guy. You go for the niggas who ain't shit. I'm telling you what I know, bro.
I have been trained, very strongly trained by my mentor, to never believe a woman's story in her marriage. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I have gotten sucked into a woman's story, because we are so convincing. We are so manipulative. We know how to dramatize and exaggerate the circumstances and experiences in the marriage to suck someone in, to feel sorry for us, to validate us in our victim story, and have even really no awareness to question that story from a woman and try to understand, well, what would the husband say, or what's his experience, though, what's his side of the story. And we bring that into therapy. So like I said, I can't tell you how many times over 10 years that I got sucked into a woman's story, and my mentor had to help me break through my cognitive dissonance and get back to the fundamental truth that I know. I've gotten so much better. It's very rare that happens now, but it can still happen because we are so convincing. It's just like, it would almost be blasphemy to not believe some of the things a woman says. And, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Maybe he's not a good man. We are so convincing. And I've also had the pleasure over the years where I've worked with a woman. She has a strong story of her husband and how he can be aggressive or controlling and a narcissist. And she paints this story. And then I've had the pleasure to actually meet her husband, because she's tried to, we always want our husbands to change. So It's interesting. Women will convince their husbands to take my men's course, which is interesting because of what I teach men in that course, which is about all our woman ways and how men have to take their power back. But I've met these husbands, and I meet them, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has this story of this man, because they're the typical good man, just loves their wife, is caring, is confused about how they're always wrong and can't be right. And when I meet the husband, it doesn't add up at all with the woman's story of him. So therapists are not trained to break through the stories of a woman. And because they're already biased, they already have that gender bias to believe and take on the perceptions of the woman and have that prejudice towards men, they get sucked in. And here's the thing, is that the very same tactics we use as women in a marriage to manipulate our husbands and brainwash them to believe they are the problem are the same manipulative tactics that we use to draw a therapist into our story and get the therapist on our side. We're using the same tactics, and then the therapist gets brainwashed into believing the man is the problem. I've had several female clients over the years who very quickly trusted me because I didn't buy into their stories, and I called them out on it. I have one client in particular, I will never forget my first conversation with her. She reached out to me. She had this big story about her husband. He never pays me any attention. He doesn't validate me. He doesn't even compliment me ever. He never even says, I love you. And she had this whole story, but she was also sharing, but I know I have these behaviors and this is how I show up. And this is a very high powered woman with a very successful business. And she gets done telling her story. And I knew I had to be totally direct with her to gain her trust, to gain her respect. And I told her point blank, the problem is your husband is terrified of you because you are such, pardon my language, because you are such a bitch. And I didn't mean it mean, and I didn't mean it judgmentally. I was just telling it to her straight. And also knowing the own experience of myself as a woman and the women that I had worked with. And her jaw dropped open and I didn't know what was going to come out next. But she just looked at me and she said, thank you. You're 100% correct. She said, I've never, ever had a therapist ever be direct with me and has always let me manipulate them. You're the first person who's called me out. So we have to be called out, women, and we have to see what's really going on. And if a couples counselor isn't going to do that because they're already trained to believe our story.
Guys, I used to work at this little seafood restaurant with this couple, right? The woman was absolutely toxic, and the dude was an absolute pleasure to be around. Real stand-up guy. If you ever needed help, he's going to help you. He'll give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. The woman, not so much. I'm not going to say she was an absolute horrible person, but she definitely was a bitch, bro. It is what it was. She wasn't never really friendly towards everyone. She had an attitude, definitely a sense of entitlement. Like one time she, asked me if I could cover her shift, and I was like, nah, I can't cover your shift. And then she brought up an example when I covered up someone else's shift at that exact time. Why could you do it then and you can't do it now? Circumstances change, and then, ma'am, I don't owe you no explanation. I ain't your motherfucking boyfriend, straight up. So if she's coming at me like that, what's she doing to him behind closed doors? Boom, fast forward 2 years later, they're going through a nasty breakup, and she is dragging this man's name through the mud. And I never once. Now, we're mutual friends. He has a Facebook account. She has a Facebook account. I'm friends with both of them. Now, we're mutual friends. Boom. I never once seen him talk about her bad in a negative light. I've only seen him show her the utmost respect. But people on Facebook are buying into this and say, girl, you need to leave that narcissistic asshole. You need to leave him. He's controlling. You need to leave him. You can do better. We're here for you, all kind of stuff. And I'm just like, y'all don't work with this woman. We know her. See, us, we know that this woman ain't no damn good. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and paint no story like she's a adulterous woman or whatever, like she was cheating. I never saw any of that. But what I will say is this. She was an asshole, and he was that guy that everybody loved at the job. You know, every job has that one guy that literally everybody loves, dog. And every job has that one person that everybody kind of can't stand. They avoid him like the plague. Polar opposites. But on Facebook, she was very convincing that he was the problem.
Good morning. Good morning, nation. Daddy. Good morning, Papa. No. Daddy.
Well, we know who that child's favorite parent is. Listen, that was a day segment of Positive Vibes, man. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Something slight, something easy, you know what I mean? Just something to easily digest, because everything else been pretty dense today. But look, check this out, man. Like I always say, them fathers are important, man. You change the whole trajectory of a child's life just by having a present father around. It's really that simple, man. So do your best to be in your children's life. I know some of y'all already done knocked up the wrong woman. It's too late for some of y'all. I get it. But if you don't have children already, man, at least try to put your best foot forward. Vet the woman well. Make sure she comes from a loving family. Make sure she had a dad. Because if she had a dad, more than likely she's going to want a dad for her damn children, man. It's really kind of common sense. Will you come across a couple of women who are delusional and be like, I don't need it? Yeah, because I got some friends who were raised by single mothers, like, even though I wasn't. Yeah, you're going to come across that. But most likely, if she comes from a loving two-parent household, that's what she's going to want to try to have for herself as well. There it is. Y'all be cool.